first thing I did after reincarnating as a pig was to frantically eat 250 cattas of pig feed, making myself the fattest pig in the pigsty. The surrounding pigs all thought I was crazy. You see, the fatter you grow, the easier it is to be slaughtered, and even more likely to be sent for breeding, which is even worse than death. However, what they didn't know was that I had awakened the devour and evolve system. As long as I ate, I would continuously grow stronger. Although eating feed improved me slowly, it was safe enough, and according to the system's prompt, domestic pigs can grow up to 1,000 catties. After reaching 1,000 catties, continued weight gain allows evolution to the next species. I originally thought I could smoothly reach 1,000 catties and evolve, but I didn't expect the appearance of 2 humans to disrupt my plans. Zio. Hi. Isn't the braised pork for lunch delicious? It is delicious. Don't worry, we won't kill it. The meat market already ordered it. All right, we'll sell it when the new year approaches. After hearing their conversation, I instantly felt the feed in my mouth wasn't delicious anymore. But luckily, the new year was still far away. As long as I could evolve before then, I would surely find a way to escape this pig farm. For these 2 months, I frantically sped up my eating, whether it was purple yams or sweet potatoes. I stuffed them all into my mouth. However, the results were not ideal. I looked up at my attribute panel. Current weight, 400 catties. Constitution, 5. Strength, 10. This was because I had always eaten low-energy food, which resulted in my attributes not improving significantly. Although compared to other domestic pigs, I was already a behemoth. I was completely unqualified to fight against humans. At the same time, I also found that after my strength and size increased, my eyesight and hearing also improved a lot. Now, I could even hear the sound of the TV inside the house. I could hear this station reporting news. Recently, global temperatures have risen. The Antarctic ice cap is melting, and sea levels are continuously rising. A certain country's fleet discovered suspicious organisms beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. This station will continue to follow. The report, faced with the encirclement of several people. Even though I struggled fiercely, I was still dragged out of the pig farm by my tail. Looking at the large truck with an iron cage in front of me, my heart turned cold. After all, with a regular small truck, I could still try to overturn it and escape. But this kind with an iron cage crushed my hopes. However, when I was loaded into the truck, I found that they hadn't locked the iron cage. Instead, they used a split pin to secure it. This was undoubtedly my last hope of escape. To avoid being discovered by humans, I waited until the large truck had driven onto the highway before I continuously pushed the split pin with my tongue. Just as the cage was about to open, I immediately quickly scanned my surroundings. I had to find a forest or a large mountain to avoid conflict with humans. And the more sparsely populated the place, the better it was for me to hide and develop. After waiting for over half an hour, I finally found a suitable location. It was a continuous stretch of mountains and forest, as far as the eye could see, full of trees. As long as I ran into this primeval forest, even hundreds of people wouldn't be able to catch me again. Immediately, I no longer hesitated. I stuck out my tongue and licked open the split pin. Then with a push from my hind hooves, I jumped off the speeding truck. As soon as I landed, I bent the guardrail and rolled down a steep slope into the river. Luckily, my strength and constitution attributes were no longer low. My hind leg was injured, but I didn't dare to delay for a second, crawling out of the small river and then burrowing into the forest ahead. Originally, I planned to immediately find a hidden place to recover, but a dark brown plant under a large tree ahead caught my attention. This plant looked ugly, with some roots and vibrant green leaves growing on it. This thing seemed to be called Ishu Wu Fotai. My hind leg was just injured. With it, the injury on my leg should heal quickly. As I was about to open my mouth and swallow the Ishu Wu, half-meter-long giant centipede suddenly emerged from behind the tree. Its long, black and red body rapidly moved towards me, approaching, even though I was almost 500 catties now. Being bitten by it would probably not feel good, so I cautiously approached it first, waiting until I reached a suitable distance. Then I leaped up, lying on my side with my massive body, and smashed the giant centipede to a pulp. Looking at the mashed flesh on the ground, I was a bit hesitant, but such a large centipede was a treasure. If I swallowed it, it should increase my strength quite a bit. Thinking this, I opened my large mouth. I quickly swallowed the giant centipede. At this moment, the system's voice rang out. Species, domestic pig. Current weight, 480 catties. Constitution, 6. Strength, 16. First time devouring an animal. Awakened skill, devourment technique. Can directly absorb food for devouring, greatly increasing the amount devoured. This made me feel extraordinary for the first time. I quickly continued to question the system. System, lie awaken other things when I evolve host. You will awaken one spell with each evolution. After evolving for the 5th time, you will awaken a divine ability. This made me overjoyed. To test the effect of the devourment technique, I immediately opened my mouth towards the He Shu Wu not far away. The He Shu Wu actually flew directly towards me and was swallowed in one gulp. At this moment, my hind leg felt a tingling sensation, and the injured area recovered in moments, as good as new. Moreover, my strength and constitution both increased by 2 points, and my weight reached 500 katas. A good start. This forest truly was my treasure trove, but I suddenly thought of such a large primeval forest. The forest was shrouded in thick fog. At this moment, the 3rd combat group, with over a dozen battleships, was frantically retreating. In the thick fog ahead, there seemed to be some terrifying presence. On the flagship's combat command bridge, a creature emitting a terrifying red glow appeared on the screen. This was something simultaneously scanned by infrared and radar. A middle-aged man in a craftsman's uniform had a solemn expression, and a young officer beside him said, "Boss, what exactly is that?" "What?" "The heat energy it's releasing is terrifying to this extent. The total heat energy of all our warships is as tiny as a firefly before it," the middle-aged man calmly said. "Although I don't know what this thing is, the enemy's losses are certainly much heavier than ours. Pass on my order. Immediately designate this area as a special restricted zone, elevating it to the highest level a few days later. In the primeval dense forest of Daling, every day I either ate and slept, or slept and ate. I apparently didn't know that the crisis I had previously sensed had quietly begun. I looked at my attribute panel. My weight had now reached 600 katas. The surrounding food was providing less and less improvement to me. I could only stride deeper into the forest. But I hadn't gone far when I stopped by a small river. I tried opening my mouth towards a fish in the water. As a result, the fish flew out of the water and into my mouth. At the same time, my strength attribute increased again. Knowing that winged fish could greatly increase strength, I simply lay by the river, opening my mouth whenever a fish approached. With a whoosh, another fish was swallowed. This time, it was my constitution attribute that increased. As I ate more and more fish, my fair and tender body gradually turned blackish-brown. Sharp tusks also grew out from both sides of my mouth. Species, wild boar. Weight, 650 katas. Constitution, 30. Strength, 50. After becoming a wild boar, my body size was almost 3 meters long. Devouring ordinary small fish no longer provided significant improvement, so I continued to advance deeper into the forest. But not long after I started, I heard the sound of wolves howling. I instinctively intended to avoid them, but I still cautiously moved in the direction of the howling wolves. What I didn't expect was that, when I saw the wolf pack, they were attacking 2 black bears, although the bears were at a disadvantage. The small black bear beside the large black bear was dragging it down. To protect its cub, the large black bear didn't dare to act rashly. Originally, I thought that a big battle between the 2 sides would be a good opportunity for me to exert myself, so I still took action. My massive body, moving at high speed, generated incredibly powerful destructive force. With just one pig rush, I sent 3 wild wolves flying. Seeing the large black bear swat another wild wolf to death, the alpha wolf looked at my massive body and let out a long laugh again. After its long laugh, the alpha wolf quickly led the pack and burrowed into the forest, disappearing. The large black bear gave me 2 deep glances, then also took its cub and burrowed into the forest. Looking at the several wild wolves that had died on the ground, I opened my mouth and used the devourment technique. Species, wild boar. Current weight, 700 katas. Constitution, 70. Strength, 80. As expected, large beasts provided higher attribute bonuses. After eating my fill, I continued to slowly walk deeper into the jungle. However, a strange object made me stop. This thing was completely black and over a meter long. It was a common animal trap used by hunters. In this kind of deep primeval forest, placing traps meant these people were definitely not regular hunters, but poachers. Just as I was thinking this, a sound of a tiger's roar came from not far ahead. It was the sound of a Siberian tiger. My heart jumped. That was a true king of the jungle. It seemed the poachers had acted against it. After hesitating 3 times, I still decided to go and see. If there was danger, I would immediately turn back. I slowed down and quietly approached. My 700 catty, massive body surprisingly made no sound. After passing through a large stretch of forest, by the time I approached, the battle had already ended. But I could feel that the group of people should be just ahead. I looked at my surroundings, concealed my body in the low bushes, and continued to approach. At this moment, by a campfire, there were 5 men. My enhanced 5 senses allowed me to clearly hear their conversation. It turned out this group was a poaching team from Little Japan, and as expected, the Siberian tiger earlier had been dealt with by them. Looking at the tiger's tail peeking out from the black bag next to them, I hesitated repeatedly, but still decided to look for an opportunity. If I could devour this tiger, I should be able to break through 1,000 catties and usher in evolution. Soon it was late at night. This group left one person on watch, and all went into their tents. I quietly approached the camp. Finally, when there was only about 100 meters left, I no longer held back and started to sprint wildly. The man on watch had just raised his gun, but I had already arrived in front of him, knocking him flying dozens of meters away. The few people who heard the commotion. Immediately after, I used my tusks to touch the hunting knife, and after confirming there was no danger, I rushed towards the black bags. In the first bag was a Siberian tiger. In the second bag was a large brown bear. In the third bag, surprisingly, were living tiger cubs, and both were unconscious. So I continued to search for other things. In the current situation, I urgently needed a mobile phone or other communication device so I could keep track of the outside world. On the ground, besides the 3 large black bags, there were also several poachers' backpacks. I rummaged through these things and found that there were quite a lot of items inside. Indeed, among them was a notebook that recorded their experiences and observations over the years. Most of it was about, including the Daling primeval forest. After another round of searching, I found a smartphone, a power bank, in another backpack, and a small hand crank generator. It was like getting whatever I wanted. This put my mind at ease. Just then, the 2 tiger cubs had woken up, but upon seeing me, they not only didn't run, but also guarded the Siberian tiger's corpse. Looking at them, they didn't seem to have much meat. I decided to eat this Siberian tiger first to see if I could eat it. I opened my big mouth towards the large brown bear and swallowed it in one gulp. Species: wild boar. Current weight: 950 catties. Constitution: 100. Strength: 120. Seeing that I was only 50 catties away from evolution, I looked at the 2 tiger cubs with a deep gaze. The 2 little guys immediately trembled all over. But I ultimately didn't make a move. Instead, I looked at the Siberian tiger behind them. This made the 2 tiger cubs tremble even more violently. However, they still guarded the Siberian tiger's front. Watching me slowly approach, one of the tiger cubs let out a low growl, while the other tiger cub, in a blink of an eye, ran away. I didn't pursue it, but continued to approach the Siberian tiger. But before I could get close, the tiger cub that had run away came back again. It was carrying a large, dark brown bag in its mouth, which it flung in front of me, then guarded the Siberian tiger again. Ganoderma, ginseng, and Hishu Wu were scattered all over the ground. I opened my mouth and used the devourment technique. The medicinal herbs on the ground were all swallowed by me in one go. Finally, my weight exceeded 1,000 catties. The black armored pig system's voice rang out again. Species: black armored pig. Current weight: 1,400 catties. Constitution: 300. Strength: 300. Awakened skill: black armor. Can cover the entire body with black armor, granting immunity to general physical damage. My blackish-brown fur turned reddish-brown. I had evolved into a brand new species. After processing the system's information, I turned to look at the 2 tiger cubs. After observing them just now, these 2 little guys were not only intelligent, but also highly loyal. So I decided to tame them. Afterwards, I didn't eat the Siberian tiger, but instead dug a pit and buried it. This made the tiger cubs less hostile towards me. I roared at them, threw a backpack to them, telling them to take turns carrying it when they got tired. The 2 tiger cubs understood my meaning, put on the backpack, and followed me out of the camp. As I moved deeper into the forest, I checked my current evolution conditions. To my surprise, I needed 20,000 catties to evolve again. This number was simply beyond my imagination. Suddenly, I remembered that notebook. It recorded the coordinates of many large animals. Relying on these coordinates, I devoured various large animals along the way. My body size was also continuously growing. Of course, besides hunting, I paid attention to the news every day, and now it was news broadcast time. I didn't expect the news to openly promote these famous mountains. It also news about them recruiting a large number of disciples. I couldn't help but search for information about these sects, specifically about recruiting disciples. I saw a message on a related page. There are a total of 10 realms. We hope that all martial artists diligently cultivate and ascend early. To the peak, rushed into the water to play. I didn't pay attention. Lying on the side, on the grass, I snored loudly. Water, the tiger cub watched me being smashed into the water and let out a roar. This action completely enraged the giant python. It quickly swam its body towards the shore, right onto its head. However, I was bitten by a huge force and flung onto the shore. The flying armor on my body vented the red fur stone from the host. Erupting with true fire, my body's replication instantly ceased. And then I once more, the giant python, sent flying, struggled to coil around me, but it was completely unable to withstand the black armor on my body. I frantically bit it for half an hour before the giant python finally stopped moving. Only then did I relax. I bit off a section of its tail and gave it to the 2 tiger cubs. Just as I was slowly enjoying the giant python, a 4-meter-long white wolf in the distance was staring at the 2 tiger cubs beside me. Sensing a different aura, I immediately turned my head, just in time to see its pair of cold eyes. This was a lone wolf. It was still 200 meters away from me. Normally, it couldn't be caught, but who told it to be so foolish as to covet my little brothers? As I spoke, my entire body was covered by dark black armor. Cover? Then I saw a massive black shadow charging over a speed he couldn't imagine. The 4-meter-long wild wolf was instantly sent flying over 100 meters away, crashing heavily into a tree before stopping. I flicked my head, signaling the 2 tiger cubs to drag the wild wolf's corpse back. The tiger cubs immediately understood and scurried off to drag the wild wolf's corpse. After continuously devouring 2 large beasts, I could also feel heat permeating my entire body. Waves of power continuously washed over my entire body. My body size was also slowly growing. System check. My attributes. Species: black armored pig. Weight: 3,600 catties. Strength: 600 points. Size: 550 points. Still far from 10,000 catties. I'll rest first, then talk. And while I was sound asleep, fierce battles were raging on the endless coastline. The battles, behind the place the public called a military-restricted zone, were towering black walls. A middle-aged man in a military greatcoat looked at the vast, endless coastline ahead, his gaze solemn. A soldier quickly walked in from outside. Report: large amounts of mist discovered in Zone 3. Among them are 20 tentacled lizard-like creatures. Coastal cannons have been destroyed. How are the casualties from these damned bugs reporting? Pudong soldiers' casualties: 50 dead. Master Chen is severely wounded. Liu Shang is lightly wounded. The release ship single-handedly killed 1 tentacled lizard all right. Understood. Continue to guard strictly. The middle-aged man let out a light breath. His name was Taming, and he was the base commander. Ever since those mists appeared at sea a few years ago, the situation here had been getting worse every day. He knew it wouldn't be able to be kept secret much longer. Only by cultivating a large number of masters could they stop these things. China's various bases were engaged in fierce firefights. I was sound asleep deep in the Daling forest. The 2 tiger cubs were also like this. However, it was very clear that our body sizes had grown considerably larger than before. My current body length had reached 7 meters, and my height had precisely reached 3 meters. A veritable land tank. I estimated that even if I encountered ancient dinosaurs, besides that annoying monkey, I also encountered a massive brown bear over 7 meters long, a 5-meter-long green wolf, and a body length of nearly 20 meters. A massive python appeared before my eyes. The 2 tiger cubs, hiding behind me, had already started to clamor. Then, from inside the cave, came the sound of massive rocks rolling. A massive brown bear walked out of the cave. Standing upright, it exuded a powerful, bear-like aura, making me sigh. This guy, what did it eat to grow so big? Although my size was comparable to the brown bear. When this brown bear stood up, it seemed more imposing than me. It directly charged at me. It also recognized me. He had actually clashed once before a while ago, but that time I hadn't used my full power. This time, we were meeting as equals, eyes wide with anticipation. 2 massive figures directly collided. A huge crashing sound echoed in the forest. In the midst of it, my silver tusks once again tore through the forest skin. But the brown bear also resisted. With a boom, there was another huge collision. This time, The brown bear was directly knocked off its feet, but it immediately rolled back up from the ground. Although my defense was far superior to the brown bear's, its massive paws still managed to scratch my skin. I still couldn't drag this out for too long. If we kept fighting like this, it would probably take a whole day. There were other giant beasts in the forest. My heart stirred. My body slowly began to be covered by black armor. Instantly, a wave of heat filled the air. When the black armor appeared, a moment, I could feel the strength in my body increase severalfold, and my defense was even stronger. A hint of panic also appeared in its eyes, right beside it. After a startling, deafening roar, the lifeless brown bear slid down from the rock wall, kicking up a layer of dust on the ground. The two tiger cubs jumped up excitedly, their eyes fixed on one of the brown bear's paws. I signaled them to eat later and to go check the cave, if there were any more bears inside. Afterwards, I led the two tiger cubs into the cave. The cave was even larger than I had imagined. Even I could move freely inside. As I continued deeper into the cave, I discovered a large number of plants and herbs. Among them were some unknown fruits emitting a faint, subtle fragrance. I knew these were definitely good things. That 7-meter-tall brown bear, as one of the overlords of this forest, really knew how to pick a good spot. When I reached the cave's deepest part, I found a huge pool on the ground. Inside flowed a pool of golden yellow liquid. What a large pool of honey. This brown bear, did it kill the queen bee? I couldn't help but wonder. After thoroughly searching the cave, I left the two greedy tiger cubs drinking honey, while I went outside the cave. To be honest, this place was good and could be my lair. But it wasn't time to lie flat yet. More powerful animals would definitely appear in the future. I still had to keep eating. Turning to look at the massive brown bear corpse, I first cut off a portion for my two little brothers, then began to devour the brown bear. Immense heat continuously washed over my body, making me feel like a walking furnace. Faced with this situation, I decided to go back into the cave to sleep. After drinking a few more sips of honey, I fell into a deep sleep. Unconsciously, my body size was also slowly growing. After a few days in the cave, my body size had reached 9 meters long and 4 meters high. Even in this southern cloud region, I was absolutely unique in my massive existence. No, today I must find an easy target, I muttered. I'll go one by one. First deal with that python in the water. 20 meters long. So what? Now that our sizes are similar, I'm not afraid of it in the water either. Then I'll sweep through, clearing out all the beasts in this forest. I don't believe that black tiger won't show itself. I couldn't help but start planning in my mind. The reason I was only now going to find trouble with that python was, this station reports, countless monsters have surged into the cities of Sakura Country, Japan, from its coastline, causing immense slaughter. Currently, large numbers of refugees from Sakura Country are fleeing to other countries. Latest report, Sakura Country requested aid from America, but has not yet received any response. Below the news, comments from numerous netizens exploded. What's happening? Woke up and Little Japan is almost done for. What exactly happened? How exactly was Sakura Country's coastline breached? Faced with the discussions of numerous netizens, one netizen directly posted a picture. It showed a 9-meter-long giant lizard directly biting a tank to pieces. Seeing this picture, numerous netizens couldn't help but fall silent for a moment. Afterwards, even more intense discussions erupted. China's official channels knew they couldn't hide it for much longer, and were now slowly releasing information. Online, there was even a promise of some news. Each time they revealed news, it left everyone bewildered. Following the public's discussion, I couldn't help but join in, slowly typing out a line of text. This monster can't withstand a single blow from me only. Only a second passed before countless netizens began to refute the boastful claims of you and me. My master is an elder of Feng Chunshan, dying day by day. Then I, seeing these comments, I couldn't help but let out a carefree laugh. Saying this, I looked at the two tigers beside me, whose body length exceeded 2 meters. I gently probed. I don't even know what's going on, so you certainly wouldn't know either. As for me, whose body size has now surged to 11 meters, I am equivalent to the top overlord of the forest's southern region. Even that annoying red-haired big monkey doesn't dare to easily provoke me anymore. It's not far from the seaside here. Let's go see if we can encounter any giant lizards. Saying this, I led the two tigers towards the seaside. The southern region, forest connected to the sea outlet, and there was also a military base there. However, Very few monsters came up from here, so this military base was also one of the 24 military bases with the fewest casualties. The military base was built on a small island in the sea. A middle-aged man in a general's robe looked at the radar in front of him, a hint of solemnity in his eyes. The radar displayed infrared thermal images of some animals in the Nanu forest. That monster moved. That monster is the highest heat-emitting monster we've discovered on land. Even the tentacled lizards in the sea can't compare. Sir, should we adjust our artillery to target this monster? Not for now. If we don't provoke them, they rarely actively attack humans, sir. We've recently seen 2 or 3 tentacled lizards on the coastline. Soon, there might be a large group of monsters, slowly moving with heat. Based on past experience, a large number of tentacled lizards might appear here. Check ammunition. Be ready to fight at any time. And while the military base was on high alert, I was slowly walking through the forest and had already reached the coastline. Then I sniffed the scent in the air. That's right. There's indeed the scent of tentacled lizards here. I didn't expect the tentacled giant lizards to be so close to me. The heaven and earth opening predicted online was only 10 days away. Now, this seaside was also a treasure trove for me. 2 days later, I excitedly looked at the 9-meter-long lizards in the distance. Compared to my crouching size, these 2 lizards were like lizard dogs and the 2 massive lizards, seeing that I didn't rashly attack, but was instead. I glanced disdainfully at the 2 enormous lizard hounds. Their massive bodies, like bulldozers, charged straight at them. The 2 lizards, seeing they couldn't escape, also bared their fangs and claws, beginning to meet the attack. But the moment they made contact, they were directly sent flying. Their tough skin was even torn open by my silver tusks, leaving a large gash. I didn't give the 2 lizards a chance to catch their breath, delivering another savage charge that took out both lizards. This scene was clearly captured by the nearby military base. The middle-aged general at the military base had a look of shock and a hint of fear in his eyes, as the creatures that had made them feel incredibly difficult to deal with. The tentacle lizards were now these 2. How long were these lizards, and what realm did they correspond to? According to radar monitoring, both lizards had a body length of 9.5 meters, equivalent to the peak of the steel bone realm. However, to slay such lizards, only a 6th-grade resonance realm existence could achieve it. What realm was that pig? In fact, there were many strong individuals within the military base. If the 8th-grade iron skin realm to the 7th-grade steel bone realm was a hurdle, then the 7th-grade steel bone realm to the 6th-grade resonance realm was a chasm. Previously, from the 9th-grade origin guiding realm to the 7th-grade steel bone realm were called the lower 3 realms. The 6th-grade resonance realm already belonged to the middle 3 realms. The sect masters of various major sects and famous mountains generally resided in this realm. Actually, it was inevitable for Sakura country to be defeated by the lizard monsters. Ordinary lizard monsters were comparable to humans in the lower 3 realms, and there were also many large lizards exceeding 10 meters in size, equivalent to various realms within the middle 3 realms. Within this range, Sakura country's close-in weapon systems and artillery could no longer threaten them. The Lizard King behind the scenes had strength equivalent to the peak of humanity's upper 3 realms, or even stronger, and that Lizard King appearing in Sakura country. This was also the reason for Sakura country's accelerated collapse. The middle-aged general asked again, "Have you calculated what realm that wild boar monster is in?" That monster didn't use its full strength, and based on its heat signature, it seemed to contain terrifying energy within its body. Its strength was immeasurable. This is too incredible. Could this be another existence comparable to the Lizard King? I dragged the 2 large lizards back to the cave and began to devour them. The energy they provided was quite considerable. I could feel surges of heat within my body, and my strength and size were slowly increasing, becoming ever more powerful. I couldn't help but look at the 2 little brothers beside me and couldn't help but scold them. "Your performance just now was too poor. As kings of the jungle, you were actually scared by a lizard. Although that lizard was quite large, you 2 could have gone at it together." The 2 tigers, Ayawu. Ayawu mumbled softly, not daring to resist. Then I said again, "From now on, I'll call you Tiger 1 and Tiger 2. After all, you are kings of beasts, and with proper training, you'll be my right-hand men. Those 9-meter-long lizards, Tiger 1, when you grow to 5 meters, you'll easily deal with them. The world is about to open up. During this time, we need to go to the seaside more often. If we can encounter more lizards, we can evolve faster." Evolution. Species, black armored pig. Weight, 12,000 jin. Strength, 1,200 points. Size, 1,100 points. Skill, devour. Black armor. Soon, just a few more lizards. and perhaps I can evolve once more before the world opens up. With a goal in mind, every day I would take my two little brothers to the coastline to search for tentacle lizards. Lizards, how about we try to make contact with this wild boar king? I think it's different from other monsters, different. After speaking, I sucked several massive lizards into my mouth. In the blink of an eye, a few more days passed. During these days, I would go to the coast every day, searching for lizards, but tentacle lizards became increasingly scarce. However, I was also on the verge of evolution. That day, while browsing for news, I suddenly saw a shocking piece of news. Sect Master Liu Zhenren of Jiuhua Mountain died in battle, and at the same time, a large number of civilian whales died in battle. Countless spiritual energy from the surroundings was directly absorbed by me. I was already on the verge of evolution, and directly broke through. The two small cats beside me quietly waited by our side, and their bodies were also slowly changing, until, and the entire world was undergoing drastic changes. And in the endless, deep sea, there was a massive island. Spiritual energy gathered here, forming a dragon neck wind. Several enormous giants roared with earth-shattering fury. Their forms, reflected in the massive storm, were also slowly changing. Among them, the one standing in the northeast corner, a giant lizard, was especially dangerous. A faint starlight even emerged on its body, and its gaze was fixed. It was precisely this creature that had shattered the hopes of various nations. This spiritual energy storm lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Global electricity and communications were directly paralyzed by this storm. Some smaller nations even permanently lost their communication capabilities. 3 days later, in a cave in Daling Forest, 2 cats over 5 meters long were sleeping beside a colossal creature over 15 meters long. I slowly woke from my sleep and shook the dust from my body. Now, my height had exceeded 6 meters. The black armor that originally covered various key parts of my body had turned golden. Under the sunlight, my body emitted a golden glow. The golden armor and fiery red fur seemed to fit even better. If the past me looked like a ferocious beast, then now I looked like a sacred beast. Is this what the opening of heaven and earth and the resurgence of spiritual energy is like? Species: golden, armored pig. Weight: 25,000 jin. Strength: 2,500 points. Size: 2,400 points. Skill: devour. Golden armor. Glazed fire breath. As expected, my black armor had directly evolved into golden armor. I also gained a new skill: glazed fire. It's time to go out and explore, and I can try out my new skill. Zhao Liwu and Yuan took 2 tigers too. However, just as I approached the coastline, I heard the sound of exploding artillery fire. The military base on a distant island was firing frantically. However, facing such fierce artillery fire, the casualties of the group of creatures opposite were negligible, simply because they were a group of massive lizards, numbering over a dozen. The leader among them had an astonishing body length of 20 meters. Cold golden armor covered its body, and even some artillery shells hitting it could only cause minor injuries. Inside the base, Liu Da's expression was solemn, and his body was already emitting the aura of a 9th-grade origin guiding realm cultivator. Because of the opening of heaven and earth and the resurgence of spiritual energy, he had even gained 5 8th grade and 2 7th-grade steel bone realm cultivators among his subordinates. However, facing these massive lizards, they were now unable to guarantee their safety. The deputy officer urgently ran to Liu Da's side to report. The tentacle lizards are less than 100 meters from the base. The artillery's power is greatly limited. Everyone, grab your machetes and prepare for close quarters. Combat, sir. Even the large 6th-grade resonance realm 1 is no match. We still have to go, but given the current situation, tentacle lizard over 20 meters long was no match even for a human 6th-grade resonance realm cultivator. And at this moment, inside the base, there was only one resonance realm expert, an ascetic monk from the Tibetan region. When heaven and earth first opened, this monk was in seclusion and had not yet emerged. But Liu Da knew that even if the monk emerged, facing a 20-meter tentacle lizard, he would have no chance of winning. He had no chance of winning. Now, he could only exhaust his last bit of strength to make these tentacle lizards feel pain, then see if they would temporarily retreat. When I appeared on the coastline, no one in the military base noticed me. Everyone was already shouting, "Brothers, kill one and it's worth it. If we kill one tentacle lizard, our side will suffer fewer casualties." but the fierce explosions only lightly injured these lizards. Have you broken through yet? No. The monk nodded, but still looked solemnly at the tentacle lizards ahead. I, not far away, had intended to step forward, but stopped at this moment. This was the first time I had seen such a powerful human. The height he just jumped was over 10 meters. Yet that Master Gu seemed to do it effortlessly. I was very curious about what realm this Master Gu was in. The 20-meter-long leading giant lizard also looked at Master Gu. Then its massive divine power charged towards Master Gu at a strange angle. The round gold and silver object that Master Gu had just retracted then transformed into a golden plate, which directly expanded towards that vast sea. However, this giant lizard, at a strange angle, all the soldiers showed a tragic expression on their faces, tightly clutching their remaining grenades, tempting to deliver a final blow to these lizards. It was at this critical moment. Even the leading 20-meter-long giant lizard was slowly retreating. They felt a hint of fear. The old soldiers, however, looked at these tentacle lizards in confusion. Looking at these tentacle lizards, General Liu Da and Master Gu beside him had also woken up. The lizards he spoke of were still in the boiling water. If it were a monster, then its strength would definitely have reached a terrifying level. Before he could finish speaking, my massive aura and voice directly burst out from beneath the water. The moment I appeared, the temperature of the surrounding air continuously rose. My massive presence made even the 20-meter-long giant lizard appear somewhat slender in front of me. The tentacle lizard, which had just been so arrogant, with a hint of hoarseness in my voice, under the shocked gaze of all the soldiers, I transformed into a golden sea fish, like a bulldozer, and crashed into the largest tentacle lizard. After an earth-shattering crash, the massive tentacle lizard was sent flying onto the ground. Its head directly split open. It staggered a few steps, then collapsed with a crash. The other lizards were so scared they fled in disarray. But my indifferent footsteps once again transformed into a golden sea fish. The remaining dozen or so lizards were all sent flying by me before they could even run away. My red tusks, with just a gentle swipe, took out a lizard, which dared not make any rash moves. A dozen tentacle lizards had almost destroyed the base, but the colossal tentacle lizard in front of them was immeasurably stronger. If it went berserk, they wouldn't even be able to resist. Liu Da, who saw this scene from not far away, recognized me as the wild boar king from the jungle. In the past, I was covered in black scales. Now, after the opening of heaven and earth, the change was truly transformative. Liu Da cautiously stepped forward and slowly spoke. Lord Wild Boar King, thank you for saving this base. I slowly raised my right foot and pointed to the ground, at the lizard corpses. Then I pointed to the distant jungle. Seeing this, Liu Da's eyes lit up with excitement, and he quickly said, Good, I will immediately arrange for people to deliver them to your cave dwelling. Then I directly leaped into the sea and disappeared from everyone's sight. Liu Da still hadn't recovered from his excitement, muttering, It's truly an auspicious beast. Heaven's blessing has descended again when I returned. I fell asleep. When I woke up, I found that Liu Da had already sent over the corpses of a dozen tentacled giant lizards. The dozen giant lizards piled up, as high as a small mountain. Eating these, I felt like I could gain a lot of strength and size. Liu Da, regardless of whether I could understand, left me some information on fierce beasts compiled by the military base. This made my heart rejoice. Although there was a lot of information on this topic online, the most crucial information was still in the hands of the authorities. I looked at the pictures and text in the file. Muttering, monster ranks are divided into beast soldiers, beast generals, lord level, and the legendary king level. Monsters of the same rank are generally stronger than humans. Beast soldiers correspond to humanity's lower 3 realms. Beast generals correspond to lord-level monsters, which correspond to humanity's upper 3 realms. Regarding the legendary king-level monsters, there is currently no record. Seeing this, I also understood monsters also have different species. The tentacled giant lizards, now spread across various countries, are just one type. The giant pythons and giant bears I encountered in the southern domain forest also belonged to a type of monster. What attracted me most in the information was about lord-level monsters. Before the opening of heaven and earth, a total of 5 lord-level monsters were discovered. Among them, the Lizard King was the largest, already close to 60 meters. considered perfect among Lord-level monsters. The other 4 were deep within the Kunlun Mountains, with specific information unknown. Monsters reaching the Lord level no longer rely solely on. The Lizard King could use Blue Flame Breath, which was immensely powerful. There were many Lord-level monsters in the sea, but currently, only one was exposed to people's sight. The Lizard King. I quickly read through all the remaining information. You 2, come here. You 2 are currently only equivalent to advanced beast soldiers. Do you know that? The magnificent Wild Boar King should at least command 2 beast generals, they understood. The 2 brothers let out a low, obedient roar and went to eat that 9-meter-long giant lizard. They also didn't hesitate to devour these tentacled giant lizards. As expected of beast general-level monsters, killing a beast general-level monster rewards 200 points of strength. System, check my attributes. Species, golden armored pig. Weight, 30,000 jin. Strength, 3,000 points. Size, 2,900 points. Skills, devour, golden armor, glazed fire breath. I found that my body length seemed to stop increasing after reaching 15 meters. However, my current appearance was truly magnificent. Unlike those ugly lizards, at a glance, my strength was extraordinary, though I didn't have any special requirements for a massive physique. 15 meters long and 6 meters tall was perfectly sufficient. System, how much more do I need to evolve again? Weight, reaching 100,000 jin. Strength and size reaching 10,000 points. Then you can evolve, evolution. Just relying on eating these beast soldiers and beast generals. I don't know how long it would take. Now, only by acquiring Lord-level monsters can I help myself evolve quickly. But where are the Lord-level monsters? The notice issued by the authorities 2 days ago had now become a reality. Everyone stayed at home, not daring to go out, but many monsters had already broken in. Among them, one piece of news caught my attention. This station reports a 7-meter-long lion has appeared in Jishi, currently causing multiple casualties. Residents in the surrounding area are requested to immediately evacuate, according to Xianxia official strength assessment. Residents of Jishi should take precautions. The army has already departed. Now that heaven and earth had opened, cities were covered by forest. Powerful monsters like this had begun to freely enter and exit human cities. It seems we should also venture into the cities. I called to Tiger 1 and Tiger 2, and we walked along the jungle towards the outside. It had been a long time since I left the southern domain. Many beast generals, rarely seen outside the forest, were now ubiquitous within it. Perhaps because I had slain many powerful creatures, there were no Lord-level monsters in Daling Forest after the spiritual energy resurgence. Or perhaps I just hadn't encountered any, as Daling Forest was simply too vast. Along the way, I also killed countless monsters, including 5-meter-long green wolves and 7-meter-long giant bears. But now, beast soldier-level monsters provided less and less energy for me. Unknowingly, several days had passed. Just as I walked out of the forest, I heard dense artillery fire echoing in the city. I gazed into the distance, seeing a 7-meter-long lion leaping among a group of tanks. Every time it leaped and landed, a tank would immediately start smoking. Its claws flashed with a cold gleam. Immensely powerful. More importantly, this massive lion's machine-like strength made these tanks completely unable to retaliate. With a casual swipe, another tank was directly slapped by this lion and started smoking. It was at this critical moment that 3 flying figures wielding cold weapons charged out from behind. Their auras were extraordinary, directly confronting this beast general level lion without any fear. These 3 were precisely the 3 martial artists dispatched by the Xianxia Martial Artist Association. 2 of them were already 6th grade Resonance Realm cultivators, and 1 woman was a 7th grade Steel Bone Realm cultivator. At this moment, the beautiful young woman spoke. "Senior brother, this lion, monster's intelligence doesn't seem low. It's hard to deal with the martial artist, holding a long staff beside her," replied. "This is the Lion King that escaped from Night Zoo. Normally, should have several beast soldier-level subordinates with it. When we make our move later, you all must be careful. 6th grade Resonance Realm cultivators form a connection with the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, allowing cold weapons to maximize their power. However, facing beast general-level monsters, they dared not be distracted even for a moment. Beast general-level monsters have been tempered by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and their defense and strength are extremely terrifying. The 6th grade Resonance Realm martial artist, wielding a long saber, was the first to strike. His figure shot out like an arrow, the long saber cutting through the air straight for the lion's throat. He was seen leaping over 10 meters high, his long saber transforming into a silver streak that directly slashed toward the large lion. However, that lion was even more agile. It directly leaped up, and its right paw unceremoniously slapped towards the long saber. A crisp sound rang out. The long saber seemed to have struck that sixth-grade resonance realm martial artist, who was directly shaken by the immense force. The remaining two martial artists, seeing this, all made their move. Their hands, holding long staffs and long sabers, struck towards the lion with full force. However, the lion not only easily dodged, but also struck back with a pull, directly sending both of them flying. That seventh-grade steel bone realm's beautiful young woman's mouth had already started to bleed, facing a beast general-level monster. If it weren't for the combined efforts of the three of them, she wouldn't even be able to withstand one attack. And in a place they couldn't see, I had already brought my two little tigers into the city. The two tigers were currently fighting with a dozen or so 4 to 5 meter long lions. Although there were many of these lions, Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 firmly held the upper hand. In less than a moment, most of the dozen lions were slain by Tiger 1 and Tiger 2. The street was already littered with the corpses of a dozen lions. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2, the two brothers, began to slaughter wantonly. I also reluctantly accepted the few lions offered by my two little brothers. Keeping soldiers for 1,000 days is indeed useful. At this moment, on the street, under everyone's gaze, Tiger 1 and Tiger 2, beast generals, were fighting over a dozen. And it was impossible to determine a winner in a short time. You two, step back. Just watch me. This move will be very cool. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2, hearing my command, reluctantly jumped back, disengaging from the battlefield. At this moment, the Lion King also revealed a nervous expression, but it could feel the power of the creature before it. Slowly, I rose up, facing the Lion King's caution. I appeared much more casual, slowly walking forward. Suddenly, with an acceleration, the air seemed to tremble. A golden light directly crashed into the Lion King. It couldn't even resist. Its body was sent flying over 10 meters high, then heavily slammed onto the ground. All the onlookers were dumbfounded, but facing such a terrifying scene, the middle-aged regimental commander inside the tank frowned slightly, as if deep in thought. What? The next moment, he opened. Commander, you can't go out. It's dangerous outside. A soldier beside him couldn't help but remind him. But the middle-aged regimental commander walked out resolutely. Now, I also have enough strength to hunt beast general-level monsters, but what would help me greatly are lord-level monsters. And for that, I need to cooperate with Xianxia officials. With a flash of my tusks in the light, a huge lion head directly landed at the feet of Kai Guobao, who had just stepped out of the tank. Fidor. Subsequently, soldiers emerged one by one from the tanks. They looked at the lion head at their commander's feet, a hint of disbelief in their hearts. The next moment, Commander Kai Guobao stood at attention and saluted me. Immediately after, all the soldiers behind him also saluted me. My slaying of the Lion King was no different from saving millions of common people from this calamity. I slowly nodded. This action directly ignited the hearts of everyone present, including the three martial artists. They couldn't help but stare at me in shock. This is truly a sacred beast. This is truly a sacred beast. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2, following by my side, also felt a bit proud. They could clearly sense my intentions, so they held no hostility towards these humans. Next, I pointed at the map behind Kai Guobao. His face immediately showed a solemn expression. He ultimately handed me the map in his hand. The map clearly marked the current situation in Xianxia and the pressure in various regions. The pressure could be said to be military secrets. Of course, these were exactly what I needed. Finally, I dragged the Lion King's corpse and left this place. All the martial artists and soldiers watched my retreating figure until I disappeared. The information obtained from the map and files made a sense of solemnity rise in my heart. Currently, Xianxia was under immense pressure. Hundreds of millions of monsters were hidden beneath the sea, fiercely staring at Xianxia's coastline. Previously, there were only tentacle lizards as monsters, but now there were many other species. The monsters in the sea were also very different. Many monsters were massive in size and were rapidly evolving. And on the way, I also opened my phone and checked various apps. They also truly felt the terror of the spiritual energy resurgence. Many netizens were also spontaneously organizing, bursting out from deep mountains and old forests. He had his own plan, to head to the southern coast to complete his next evolution there. Along the way, any monsters harming people would all be slain. Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 Ayawu. Ayawu agreed. After walking for over 100 li, we arrived at the next city. This city was called Qingzhang City. slightly smaller than Jishi. In the past, it was also extremely prosperous. Now, however, the streets were desolate, with only occasional terrifying roars coming from certain streets. Earlier, online, I saw that many city situations were not optimistic, but I found Qingzhong City's situation to be even worse. The entire city's power system had collapsed, basically in a state of isolation from the outside world. The number of monsters in the city was definitely not small, and it was highly possible that an extremely powerful beast general was stationed there, which led to this situation. Even the army couldn't attend to Qingzhong City. I walked along the streets with my two little brothers like this. Before long, we encountered several beast soldier-level monsters. Most of them were dealt with by Tiger 1 and Tiger 2. Currently, they were at the advanced beast soldier stage, on the verge of further advancement. One more step and they would be beast generals. They were already on the verge of breaking through. Suddenly, I stopped. My sensitive nose allowed me to smell a powerful aura. A beast general was right ahead. Ahead seemed to be Cultivating University. Right, and within the university, less than 1,000 meters away, a large group of people were gathered in a dilapidated gym, trembling all over. Opposite them was an extremely massive monster, leading dozens of monsters, frantically battering the gym. Many university students couldn't help but let out screams of alarm. The reason Cultivating University became a monster-infested forbidden zone was actually because there were many stray cats and dogs on the campus. Most of them were fed by students, and after the opening of heaven and earth, the number of monsters here far exceeded other places. So, when the beast general level monster appeared, all the monsters seemed to have a leader and frantically charged towards the gym's main entrance. Unknown, someone shouted, and all the university students scattered and fled. No one went forward to resist those monsters. Those martial artists with 8th grade Iron Skin Realm strength ran even faster. Fastest among them was Yang Quan with 8th grade Iron Skin Realm strength, and the iron gate was rammed open by that wild dog monster. He jumped out the window to escape, but when Yang Quan ran outside the gym, he saw a terrifying scene. A terrifying red-furred, golden-armored wild boar, 15 meters long, leading 2 5-meter-long northeast tigers, leisurely walking across the campus of Cultivating University. Compared to the monsters in the gym, these few monsters were clearly even more terrifying. However, what shocked Yang Quan was that these monsters, which were clearly extraordinary at first glance, did not rush forward to tear him apart. Instead, after a cold glance, they walked towards the gym. Along the way, I, with Tiger 1 and Tiger 2, had already slain over a dozen beast soldiers, but these were not my true targets. And when I arrived at the gym entrance, a massive monster slowly turned its head. Its entire body was covered in sharp spikes, each spike 3 to 5 meters long. This was a monster that had been baptized by spiritual energy. A threatening roar came from its mouth, but it didn't dare to easily step forward. Beast Craftsman-level monsters are generally quite special, and this Beast Craftsman-level hedgehog also didn't dare to easily attack me. It raised all the quills on its body, and even I felt a sense of not knowing where to start when I saw it. Although I was confident that this hedgehog's quills couldn't pierce my golden armor, but I didn't want to try. However, it's a good chance to try the flowing, drifting, earth. There were also a few students who had cultivated to the entry level. Those who could run had jumped out the windows and escaped. I signaled for the two brothers, Hu Yi and Hu Er, to enter the gymnasium and clear out the miscellaneous creatures inside, as high-level beast soldier tigers, dealing with the monsters inside the gymnasium that had evolved from wild dogs and cats, was still more than enough. The monsters inside the gymnasium and the few remaining university students stayed put, not daring to move an inch, their faces full of horror, watching Hu Yi and Hu Er slaughtering everything inside. I slightly opened my mouth, and streams of air appeared throughout the entire Cultivating University. These streams of energy were all formed by the convergence of spiritual energy, and began to continuously surge into my mouth. Then a bowl that had just appeared immediately evaporated the surroundings, moisture from countless trees. The remaining university students and teachers inside the gymnasium watched the scene before them in horror. Suddenly, with a rumbling sound, 2 helicopters hovered above Cultivating University. Looking at the 2 helicopters in the sky, a hint of cold power was revealed in my eyes. They merely circled once above the gymnasium, before flying silently towards other locations. The remaining teachers and students couldn't help but shout, "What's wrong with these planes? Why didn't they eliminate this monster? Yes, this monster is so huge. Did they not see it, or something deep doubt appeared in these people's minds?" Just then, a military jeep entered Cultivating University. The appearance of these vehicles once again ignited the enthusiasm of the remaining people inside the gymnasium. Several teachers pressed their heads tightly against the windows. The people on the helicopter just called for backup. Facing such a massive monster, surely experts will be dispatched.